Was there ever a moment where you felt like, oh, do I belong here? And when did that shift? If it did, when did it happen?
It's funny because I have spent most of my career in beauty. And I think I've always loved beauty. I loved my experiences at L'Oreal and Estee Lauder. But it wasn't until I came to Kopari about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, that I've really felt that I not only belonged, but really was helping to create momentum and drive the business forward and I think that's because it was at the time a smaller brand, a smaller team of about 50 people. So every single person's input was really valuable.
What is the difference between like big and small, just in how you think about how it feels?
I realize that what motivates me is when I can take an idea from concept all the way through to execution, and I can do it quickly. I have the support of my team, and we're able to understand the impact of that. And it's not a 2-year process or an extremely long process that involves, many, many people. We can actually drive an idea from concept through to execution with a handful of people, and then understand the impact. And that can actually impact our future strategies. So for me, I find that incredibly motivating and exciting because there just are fewer people to seek approvals from.
Well, what is the biggest misconception people have about the beauty industry from like the outside looking in?
I mean, I think everyone looks at what they see on social, and they think it's all fun. They think it's all games. They think, we're out, just, doing photo shoots and creating content and networking with influencers. And of course, all of those things are fun and they're absolutely important to the overall business. But marketing is very numbers driven. It's very analytical. And so you really do have to be left and right brained in this industry.
What was your biggest failure in marketing? What did it teach you about yourself?
I wouldn't say it was one particular moment. It's more that I think for so long I hesitated to share ideas or opinions because we were in a room with very senior leadership, and I sort of defaulted to just being quiet and taking notes. And then after the fact, after the meeting with people I felt more comfortable with, sharing the ideas. And overwhelmingly, I think being in the room is incredibly important to learning, hearing conversations that are really strategic. But I think also the value, if you're in the room, it's important to share ideas. Of course, you have to, base them on your knowledge, and you have to base them on data and experience. But I think it's really important to make your presence be known. And I see sort of the people on my team that do that, and what the impact of them doing that is on the entire, let's say, our leadership team. And I think, and at the end of the day, in this day and age, I don't think that somebody will, if you're in the room, like nobody is going to discount your idea. Nobody's going to say your idea is stupid. And I think it's just important to make your presence be known and share the ideas that you have versus just keeping them to yourself. And a lot of the times I would find that the ideas that I had would come up later, and they were valid ideas. They were great ideas. But I was just always hesitant to share them when we were in meetings with very senior leadership.
People just assume competence, right? It just gives you like, wow, you know that little thing. And so if you're feeling you're sticking your neck out a little bit, just know some of the details and data better than other people and you'll be fine.
Exactly. Becoming the subject matter expert of your domain, no matter how niche it is, I think is incredibly important, because then people will understand your value.
When you're climbing the ladder in a competitive industry like beauty, do you feel like you have to be someone else to succeed? Do you ever have a feeling like I have to be something other than I'm not to be able to climb this ladder?
I would say that there were periods of time where I did feel some of that. But I think as I've progressed in my career, I did not take a straight, like moving up in a very like linear fashion. I at a point realized that for me, it was the most important that I made sure that I'm always learning and growing. And there was a time where I felt I did not have as much expertise in e-commerce as I thought I should have. And so I took a role and that was a little bit more lateral and really was able to focus on digital and e-commerce in order to, gain that understanding and expertise. While a lot of my peers were moving, to more senior roles in their domain. And now I really think that benefited me so much because when I came on to Kopari, I came on as a director of e-commerce and digital. And about a year and a half later, I also then took on brand marketing because that was sort of what I started my career in. And that was really a core competency of mine. And so now I oversee all of it. But I don't think I would be where I am today if I hadn't sort of took a little bit of a windy path to sort of make sure that I had that foundation.
How do you lead when you're not sure if you have the answers?
I think that happens a lot in marketing today. I don't think, it's not a straightforward for example, if we're building a 360, I don't always know for sure what is going to resonate with customers. And so I think for me, I do ask a lot of questions of my team, and my team is a mix of, millennials and Gen Z. And I really value their opinions. And I really, we have very open discussions about how we think that we should, for example, position a product and what type of campaign will resonate. And so I think in terms of leading, I ultimately we get to a point where I've taken everybody's feedback into consideration and we are taking a stand together, with the buy-in of my CEO, who's extremely supportive and really trusts me and the team at this point. And I think that we all are collectively coming together with a strong point of view. And because that we have all just really offered up our feedback and opinions. And I could probably word that a little bit better.
What is one belief about marketing that you used to have that you no longer believe in now?
I think that this concept of a brand having a hero product that is going to be the A+ launch that we all decide on a year before, and we're going to all get behind it. And this is the product that is going to be the winner. That's sort of how it was done historically. Now, I think that we need to allow the customer to tell us what they believe the A+ product is. And we can shape our marketing campaigns. And because we're so nimble and we're able to react quickly, we can quickly shift and get behind it. But I don't think that the way brands used to lead customers to a product, I think that has been turned on its head. I think the customer tells us what the hero product is.
How do you define success now?
Of course, we all have KPIs and revenue targets that we have to meet. And that will always be true. I don't think that'll ever, real change. But for us on the marketing team, I think really being a part of the conversation in terms of a get ready with me. Ours is Kopari Beauty top of mind. Are we thought of in your day-to-day makeup case, in your get ready with me? Are we a part of your daily routine? And as we've moved through the years, that was a big challenge. It's very hard for Kopari Beauty to be a part of that, because historically we had been in body care, and that wasn't such a big category from a social perspective. And so it wasn't a brand that was necessarily top of mind. And we've really seen that shift over the years, especially this year with that setting spray. And I think the brand being top of mind for both creators and then consumers, and seeing the brand in your favorite influencer's TikTok post, that keeps the brand top of mind and really helps drive awareness of the brand. And so that's been a goal of ours, and we're really seeing that accelerate. So I think for me, I just want to continue to push there.
What about you personally, though? What about you? What is your measure of success now?
Am I learning every day? Am I faced with a new challenge that I feel that I have to go out, and it's not just rinse and repeat and we're doing the same thing over and over? I really realize that I am motivated by and thrive when we have new challenges, and I have to innovate and try new things and expand my knowledge in order to overcome that challenge. And when I'm able to do so, those moments really feel like success, because I'm growing as a marketer. But as over the past couple of years, I would also add to that is my team. Am I growing the members of my team? Am I seeing them sort of expand, and are they growing as marketers, as owners of e-commerce? Are they able to achieve their idea of success in their respective roles? That has become really, really important to me. And when I see my team growing, and when I see my CEO praising somebody on my team for the work that they've done, that really does feel like success. And I can almost see what somebody on my team is going to be doing 10 years from now in their role.
When you have to tell, those who are higher up in you something that will be uncomfortable, like, how do you get through it? Were you afraid to do it? Did you hesitate? Did you not, like, how, just generally?
Yeah, I think that those situations do happen realistically more than I'd like. But what I've realized is, if I can go in with an alternative solution, versus just coming to my leadership team with a problem, and I can really alleviate a lot of stress and the discomfort in the conversation if I can offer some potential alternatives. And in doing so, of course I've been scared sometimes going into a conversation, but I definitely think that going in with some ideas to solve the problem and take ownership of the problem, whatever the cause was, if I take ownership, but I can do this or that, and that, those are two alternatives that I would suggest, then that really does help the conversation. But of course, just like any human being, those are uncomfortable, and I definitely have a level of anxiety, I'd say, as I walk into those meetings.
What drives you more, the fear of failure or the pursuit of excellence?
Pursuit of excellence, for sure. I think I find the fear of failure to be a little demotivating, I would say. I think the pursuit of excellence and doing more, doing better, thinking bigger, to be extremely motivating. The fear of failure, of course, no one wants to fail. Of course, failure is not an option, honestly. It's just, how do we do more? How do we do better? And how do we continue to grow? And thinking bigger is really my North Star.
Does it ever feel like it's just too much? Like, I can't do this, like
all the time.
All the time?
Realistically. Yeah. I mean, like I said, this time of year, I'm traveling quite a bit. I'm missing out on a lot at home. And there's always more I could do. I feel like I'm not spending enough time with kids, or I should be doing more at work. You know, there are times where, like you were saying, go in with the data points and, you know, and I even said subject matter expert of your domain. And I wish I could do more every single day. But you know, we're only human.
And what do you do when you feel overwhelmed? Like, do you have a routine or a process, or what do you do at those moments?
Yeah, you know what? I usually have to step away from all of it, you know, and read a book, take a walk, kind of clear my mind. And usually when I come back to it, I'm a little bit more calm. I also have a couple of close friends who are also working moms and understand the challenges. And I think it's really important to build your network of people, even if it's small, of people that really can understand you and that you can talk to when you're having those sort of challenging moments. And they'll usually be sort of the voice of reason for me.
Have you ever had a time where you thought, like, I'm doing everything right, but it's still not working?
No, I don't think so. I think, but I think that's maybe my personality. I think that I always think like, okay, I could have done this better, or, you know, I should have done this, or next time. And then I'm always thinking about next time we'll do it this way. So I don't really ever think, I always think back and try to reflect back. And it's not that I thought we did something wrong. It's just that I'm always thinking about how to optimize.
If a younger version of Toral walked in the room today, say 10 years back, 15 years back, what would you tell her today?
I would tell her that you should be more confident. You should be, you should feel that you can, like I said, voice your opinion, and that your passion will come through in the work that you do. But I would also tell her your dreams will come true. You know, if I think back to, you know, my fresh out of college self, I am literally doing the job that I dreamt I would do and I did not think was possible. So I think I would tell her, just keep persevering and pushing, and you can make your dream happen.
And when it's all said and done, what do you want to be remembered for?
When it's all said and done, I would want to be remembered more for not necessarily a campaign I ran, but more so for leadership and mentoring my team, and being a leader that supported each member of my team in their growth and achieving their dreams.
Thank you so much for joining us on Branded, VP of Marketing E-commerce at Kopari Beauty. And thank you for giving us a bit of insight into the brand, the company, and your journey as a marketing leader.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was great to talk.